welcome to 21st Century Music Theory. All right, so Michael, when I listen to music, I decide if I want to recreate that or if I want to redo something similar to what I'm hearing. If I like it, I want to do something like that.
Yeah, and then what do you do? So you break it down then, right?
Oh yeah, I listen to the different parts, drums, bass, strings, all that stuff.
Yeah, so we listen to music analytically, and so the answer is, do musicians listen differently than non-musicians? Yes,
Yes,
they do.
yes.
So training our ears is a combination of increasing our vocabulary and our knowledge about music, and then focusing on musical elements like they're the recipe of a piece. One way is to transcribe music the way we hear it.
Okay. All right, so guys, do you know how to transcribe or take musical notes?
Do I know how to transcribe music? That is the essence of classical composition. It is the centerpiece of classical music. It is what made Beethoven, who I'm named after incidentally, who he was.
Okay, Mr. Smarty Pants, but they're asking, do you know how to transcribe music yourself, dude?
Well, no, not exactly.
I thought so. So the real question is, why would someone like me, who likes to rock out, need to take musical notes?
Just as with lectures, we take notes. Why? So we can stay focused on listening and also leave something physically that when the time-based lecture is over, we still have it. It's in time too, and so we have to learn to write what we hear in stages. Just practicing transcription forces us to listen longer, deeper, and more analytically.
Okay. So where do we start?
First thing, select a short and simple piece of music. Don't start with symphonies or complicated pieces. Even children's or simple folk music is a good place to start. Next, we'll take notes in 3 stages. Each one taking as many listens as you need until you feel you've done your best. Not mastered it, just done your best. The form or structure in music, which is the order of the musical sections. The texture, or how the instruments come in and exit in a piece of music. And finally, the meter, or the number of beats per beat cycle or measure, and the number of measures per section. So what we are creating is a sonograph, a sound picture, sonograph, sound picture, or physical picture of the structure of the music, its primary ingredients, and its math or formula for duration of each section. With this information, we literally have the entire map of the music, and we will have more vocabulary later on. We can go ahead and complete our transcriptions and compositions. Neat, eh? All right, so let's demonstrate. We'll play a short and relatively simple piece. On the first pass, we'll try to put vertical lines every time we hear a new section, including also what instruments we hear and whatever we can say about them. Just write whatever you hear, don't second guess yourself. You'll hear more and can write more later. So we have the spoken section. This is introduction. Drums come in, still introduction, no main event. Now there's a main part. 16th notes in timbre, functions like a bass line, drums change, straight time, and there's the computer voice. It actually happens twice. We'll come back to this again. So I put A again. All right, it's a 4-measure pattern. We'll listen to that later. Now the beat accents change to 3. 1, 2, 3. Strong synth distorted with a scratch fill. Now we have this simple beat, bass, bass, snare, sarod or sitar, Asian string, no drums, Indian tablas, stop. Now as we listen for the second time, we listen for repeated sections and see if we can find the beat and determine the meter. So there's 2 things we want to try to do. Sometimes you may have to do this a few times and focus on one thing at a time. Now, were there any repeated sections? You'll notice that I had this section, what we call the A section, repeated. So how can we do that? Very easily. We just go ahead and put a repeat sign in there, and that means as musicians, we only have to actually write it one time. And musicians are always looking for the quickest way to write music. That's the difference between how we hear music and how we write it. So we have the spoken section, the introduction again, the breathing syncopated pattern. Now we have the 16th note sections. Now this repeats. 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. See how the beat cycles in groups of 4? 4, 2, 3, 4. B section, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4. 4, 2, 3. Now the C section, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, off. So we determined that, first of all, the beat was boom, 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 boom with this music. And the first thing we try to do is figure out how many beats per measure or repeated section there are. A huge majority of music in popular bass music is in 4 beats per measure. In fact, it's so common, we actually call it common time, which we designate with a C. That is, 4 beats per measure and a C or common time are the same. So in this case, once we know it's 4 beats per measure, all I have to do is actually count the number of measures per section. That is, how many measures in the introduction, how many measures in the A section that repeats, okay? And then finally, how many measures in the B section and how many measures in the C section. Being able to break down the instruments, what's in the music, what the meter is, and the number of measures per section gives us everything we need to write music. And that's the first place musicians can do when they're listening to a piece of music, is practice transcribing the basic sono sound picture. So when we're done, the sonograph tells us the layout of the piece, the exact roadmap, the number of measures, and what we will want to transcribe or write off when our vocabulary progresses through the subsequent lessons. In the end, we'll be able to literally block out our staff paper and have the exact format to fill out the measures with notes, rhythms, chords, and other musical goodies. So take your time and start simple. Work with someone if you can, and don't worry about being right. Try to listen harder and longer is right. AKA, there's only one wrong, and that is not trying. Listen as many times as you need, and remember, do things in stages. The more you practice this, the quicker you'll be transcribing and composing music, or at the least, hear music like musicians. So how do we actually find the pulse of the beat in music? We have to participate the way a musician does. It's a little bit different than we might on the dance floor. Kick it, Mikhail. Find the pulse by not just what's comfortable, but every pulse that generates through the music. Once we do this, then we say, okay, how do we organize these group pulses? Most of the time it's in 4. That's what we call common time. Ready? Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3. Repeat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4. Let's check out another one. So here's another one. A little bit stronger beat. Once again, 4 beats per measure. Each section you count. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3.
Each new section uses the music in a new direction.